What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video on Get Up, they're going to be talking about the Green Bay Packers rookie quarterback, Jordan Love, and how he's off to a slow start in camp. So let's see what they have to say about that.
You wrote an article for ESPN.com on the progression of the rookie quarterback. What are coaches seeing so far?
Well, Greeny, lack of progression might be a better way to describe it. At best, he's been indecisive. At worst, he's been inaccurate. Now, it is worth noting they've only had 9 practices. This is obviously an...
Whoa. So there's only 9 practices in, and they're already talking about writing this guy off. You got to give this man some time. I mean, he's a super green rookie. I mean, you got to give him some time.
Unusual offseason. But Matt LaFleur said the other day that you can't play quarterback and be hesitant, and you can't play tentative. Indecisiveness equals ineffectiveness. And when I told another position coach from another team what LaFleur said about Love, this position coach told me that tells me he's thinking too much. You can't panic over this. You don't bury the guy yet, but it is not necessarily the greatest sign. Now, Greeny, it's been a long time since Aaron Rodgers was going through his first training camp as a rookie way back in 2005. And it would be easy for me to stand here and say he went through none of these struggles. But to be sure, I talked to a scout with the Packers who's no longer with the team but was around in 2005. And I asked him, what was Rodgers like as a rookie? And he told me, don't you remember? He was ripping the ball all over the place. We haven't seen that from Love. All of his throws have been of the touch variety. Now, he does have a nice touch, but I have yet to see him just rear back and fire one. He's a placement quarterback right now, feathering the ball in there rather than firing it in there.
All right,
So I would say just for the fact that Jordan Love hasn't really fired the ball in there and he hasn't really just given everything he has, kind of tells me that you got to give him some more time. Like I said, this guy is a super green rookie. He's coming in. He's probably still hyped up about being drafted. He knows he's backing up a Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers, so he's got a lot of pressure. I would give this guy more time. It's only been 9 practices. There's not going to be any preseason games, and he would need those preseason games, so he doesn't have that. So he might be super nervous. You know, I'm not really for Jordan Love because I like Aaron Rodgers better, and I think the Green Bay Packers drafted him in spite of Aaron Rodgers. But still, you got to give this guy some time. Give him a chance.
Demovsky, really well done. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you soon. Let me get my football guys back in here, particularly my quarterback, Tim Hasselbeck. As you hear, I see the smile on your face. I'm trying to read it. As you hear that from, again, a guy who's had 9 practices, what do you think?
Well, I do have pause because of 9 practices, Greeny. But I also think this is a little bit, not surprising. You have a rookie quarterback who is a, kind of a raw, underdeveloped prospect coming out of college, who now finds himself in a, NFL training camp and, feels like he's drinking out of a fire hose, probably mentally trying to keep up. So, yeah, that can make you indecisive and tentative as a quarterback. So, from that perspective, I think that we need to be careful not to be too critical of Jordan Love. At the same time, we can look at, the selection of Jordan Love, especially if you didn't like it back in April, and say, wow, this isn't good. You have a 13-3 football team from a year ago, a really good quarterback. You don't get him help. You draft his eventual replacement. And by the way, he might not be your backup quarterback this season. Tim Boyle might be your backup quarterback. Now your window for really evaluating Jordan Love, if he's going to be ready to replace Aaron Rodgers, continues to get smaller and smaller, and you may find yourself in a situation where you're picking up a 5th-year option on Jordan Love just to find out if he can actually play. So if you didn't like the pick in April, this helps you not like it even more. I do think it's a little too early to have a set evaluation on what type of player Jordan Love's going to be.
Nick...
Yeah, it's extremely too early. I mean, 9 practices isn't enough. So this is kind of playing out very slowly. Like, they drafted Jordan Love in spite of Aaron Rodgers, which I don't know why they would do that. I mean, the man's coming off a 13-3 season. He was knocking on a Super Bowl in the NFC Championship game. So I don't understand. Now, if they did this 2 or 3 years ago, I'd understand that, because 2 or 3 years ago, or actually 3 years ago, they didn't even make the playoffs for 2 seasons. But last year, Aaron Rodgers redeemed himself. So I don't know why they go and get Jordan Love. And especially if he's not panning out right now like they think, Why did you guys pick him? You picked him for a reason. You drafted him that high for a reason. All of a sudden now, is he not doing that? Or what's going on? Because like I said, this is slowly playing out like they just drafted Jordan Love in spite of Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know. Let's continue.
As Rob was saying what he was just saying about how Rodgers was 15 years ago when he was essentially in the same position, it occurs to me that you got to be a pretty tough person psychologically to be able to handle these situations, right? He's been drafted into this. He hears all the same stuff everyone else does. He's in there dealing with it. We've now gotten to know that Aaron Rodgers is, and I mean this in a good way, a really confident, arrogant, he's got all of those traits. But you kind of need that, I would think, to be in this position. And I think that's one of the things to keep an eye on here, Neek, as we see how Jordan Love is able to handle this mentally as well as physically.
Yeah, and also I think we've become so spoiled with all these quarterbacks and coming in their second and third year winning Super Bowls and doing big things that when you have a quarterback that's not necessarily like that and he has to develop, then we're like, we got to throw this guy away because if he can't start immediately and do a good job, then we can't have him. When normally that hasn't been in the case. Because I remember back in the day when you were drafted as a quarterback, you were lucky to see the field in your first year. Then as you progress second, third, and fourth year, you're able to play more and do everything like that. But back in the day, when you were drafted quarterback, you'd be very lucky to see the field. And like I said, today we've been spoiled with the Lamar Jacksons, the Patrick Mahomes, the DeShaun Watson, all those guys. And it is what it is with Jordan Love. He's going to need to develop. So let's continue.
I don't know much about Jordan Love, about his psyche, but as everyone knows, this offseason and this so far has been really challenging for a lot of people. It has to be particularly challenging for a high-profile selection like him behind a superstar like Aaron Rodgers. However, on the bright side, if you want your quarterback to struggle at anything at this point, it certainly will be the mental side of the game. Like we can explain that away for now, and you can coach that up, especially since he doesn't have to start right away. So I'd be much more concerned. Not that this isn't a bit concerning, but I'd be much more concerned if they say that his arm wasn't what they thought it was, if he was inaccurate, if he didn't have the strength to go downfield. Being able to understand an offense, as Tim has already alluded to, is not easy. It's hard to do, particularly when you have 9 practices and you had an abbreviated offseason. So I think this is not completely discouraging, but I'm not sure that it matters that much for this team this season, because I think if you're going to your backup quarterback in Green Bay, your season is probably over, whether it's Jordan Love or anybody else.
Fair enough, but
Yeah, so I'm thinking that Jordan Love is the epitome of why we need preseason games. He's the epitome of it because he can definitely learn from having 4 preseason games. Not even 4, but just maybe 1 or 2 preseason games to get his feet wet a little bit and see the speed of the NFL. Now, I know you're not going to get a full, strong look with first-teamers, in your preseason games, but still, even the preseason games are going to be faster than college football games, and he's going to see the speed and how small of a window you have to get that ball in that little pocket of time. So, and with no preseason games, his first game is going to be a game under live fire, and I don't know, that might not turn out too well. He's going to be seeing ghosts all over the place like Sam Darnold was last year. So, I don't know. Let's continue.
Tim Hasselbeck made the point that if Tim Boyle does become the backup quarterback here, because you want to have someone who you feel confident can play if Rodgers gets hurt, Dominique, how significant would that be? If the idea that he's not even ready to do that, and how, to the point that Tim made a moment ago, how that will affect their ability to make a decision on him one way or the other long term.
Yeah, I think that'd be embarrassing. If nothing else, they need to figure out a way to not debilitate whatever confidence he has left if you put him there. And I understand you can't just put him above Tim Boyle if he's not playing better necessarily, but you have a large investment in this player, and you need to be concerned about the psychological impacts as well as the physical impacts of everything that you do for him. So I'm not sure that Tim Boyle has a chance to be the backup quarterback no matter how well he's playing. I assume that they're going to make Jordan Love that guy so that Jordan Love can get those reps throughout the season and so that he does not feel that this team has given up on him already. So sorry to say, Tim Boyle is probably going to be looking elsewhere no matter how well his camp goes.
Could this potentially?
Yeah, so you just never know. But once again, they got to give Jordan Love some time to develop and get used to the speed of the NFL and things of that nature. 9 practices is not enough. Now, I know there's certain things you can see in a player, whether or not he has it or not, but all that should have been taken care of when you first decided to draft him. You saw something about him that you liked. So does he not have that anymore, or what's going on?
Tim Hasselbeck change the trajectory of things for Aaron Rodgers? I mean, is there I hate to ask this question 9 practices into Jordan Love's career, but could Aaron Rodgers, this could change the way we view this thing, I guess, ultimately, right?
Greeny, you've brought up 2 amazing points here. I mean, we think about this. Yes, this absolutely could change it. Look, if he is terrible, and you did reference, yes, we are 9 practices in, so no one's suggesting that he is. But if he is terrible, and it is obvious that he can't play, then yeah, Aaron Rodgers, in this foregone conclusion that he would not finish his career in Green Bay, that changes significantly. And look, we've seen it happen before, where just because somebody was drafted, in the first round at the quarterback position doesn't mean that they can play. And so if that becomes evident, then yeah, if you're the Green Bay Packers, you don't move on. And I do think it would be ridiculously embarrassing if Jordan Love is not able to beat out Tim Boyle